Celtics lose to the 76ers, and we're okay with that. We can handle that. There was some gross stuff tonight. Let's start with the gross, and then we'll move to the good. What do you guys say?
That's how we roll. So absolutely.
Okay. Gross. The grossest thing, the good players were bad.
Right. I was going to say just one.
Yeah. That was gross. Tatum, Brown, Smart combined 19 points on 6 of 28 field goals, 1 for 11 from 3. Whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, your thoughts on just what we saw early in the game when the starters were in there.
Yeah, any event, 9 turnovers in the first quarter is unconscionable. This is the story of the early season. And it makes me think about Kemba. We talked a lot about the ceiling being lowered with him out. The floor is definitely lowered too, because this is one of the lower turnover rate guys in the NBA. And that's one thing you count on him for beyond the explosive scoring, is being a guy who barely ever turns the ball over. Now you're relying on guys with higher rates. I still bring up that stat with Jeff Teague, and he wasn't the culprit tonight. It was more Tatum and Smart and the other guys that you mentioned. But he had a 13% turnover rate with Atlanta last year on the ball. So it's going to be rough. It's going to be atypical of a Brad Stevens team, how many turnovers this team's going to have early in the year without Kemba and reliable ball handlers. That's part of Tatum's growth too. 3 turnovers, 2 assists tonight. They don't have a reliable ball handler who isn't prone to turning the ball over at a high rate.
Speaking of which, did Jaylen Brown forget how to dribble? Or I mean, again, it's early in the offseason, but
he was rough.
Every time I see that version of Jaylen, I have massive PTSD, just from the early years where you just, bad flashbacks. And I know, again, first preseason, we're not going to overreact. Just that stuff freaks me out.
Yeah, I had that going too.
Because you're counting on him to be a full-on creator facilitator this year. There is no, he's working on it sort of stuff. You just need him to be the guy.
Right.
Yeah, but John, I think the biggest difference between, rookie year, Jaylen Brown compared to what we saw tonight is that it wasn't more of he didn't have it or he was second guessing himself. He was forcing the issue. It was like he wanted to take on double teams and, drop 20 all in one half. And I just think it was just, he wasn't letting the game come to himself. Unlike the rookie, which we'll get to later, Peyton Pritchard, who I thought that let the game come to him. He let he saw what the defense was giving him, and he took his time. Whereas Jaylen Brown was forcing the issue every single time, and after every single turnover or every missed basket, it was like he got more frustrated throughout that first half.
Yeah, we're sitting here talking about how wow, the season's starting up again. We're not even over last season. We're not even over the high from.
I'll take it all year around.
We're not even over the high from the bubble playoffs, but if we're thinking that, I kind of wonder what the Jays are feeling or what Marcus Smart's thinking, or feeling, after putting in the work that they did and all of a sudden they're back at it again. I mean, there's probably a bit of that, for the first preseason game. These guys aren't going to be going, 100 miles an hour out there. They're shaking off some of the vacation rust, and it's well-earned rest that these guys had from the bubble until now. I don't think any one of us can really expect them to have been going, full on in the off season here because it was such a short amount of time. So I'm expecting to see that rust. And it's preseason on top of it all. Preseason in a normal year, we always go into these games super pumped and hyped up, and then we're like, wow, this is preseason. It's kind of crappy. So yeah, I mean, I guess to be expected to see how some of these guys looked a little bit. Did Jaylen Brown forget how to dribble, or did he remember how not to dribble? Because that was kind of the big knock on him before last season. So hopefully no regression there. But I'm not worried about those guys. I mean,
not at all.
They're going to be fine. Yeah, we'll talk about it, but we're not worried about it.
I mean, the biggest reason I bring it up, guys, obviously because Jaylen Brown's supposed to be, the number 2 option, right? This is the season, right? That's one point, but the other reason why is because I'm kind of saw what I was worried about heading into the season, right? I'm seeing no Kemba Walker, the offense a little stagnant at times. Everyone's sort of looking around. That scares me because if he's not initiating in those open spaces, that's when he's going to be most effective. If Jeff Teague or whether it's Teague, Pritchard, or Smart, obviously, who started the game, who had a couple of sloppy possessions down the stretch, or at least in that first quarter down the stretch where he looked like he was trying to find his guys. And he was doing that. I texted you guys, he was doing that classic Marcus Smart thing where he drives the baseline, jumps in the air, and just looks for a pass midair. I hate that. I was surprised that he still does, does that. But there were some positive takeaways from Marcus Smart. He has to keep pushing that ball, like we saw.
I don't want him taking a charge in preseason game number 1. Don't be stupid. Like,
he's setting the tone.
Do we need that?
Can only play one way.
Pressure's on now, John. It's different.
Yeah, I agree with Bobby. You can't just change the way.
Yes,
you play.
you can. It's the preseason.
It's just who he is. It's just who he is.
He has never done anything else. He's never gonna change. I mean, I'd rather have that than, I don't know. I don't want to name names, but the guys who can't get their motor going. All right, I'll name a name. How'd Rob Williams look to everybody tonight?
Yeah, there you go, Bobby.
I think the easiest way to say it is he looked exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
So he gets that offensive
Exactly
rebound, misses a point-blank pull-up. He's great on the rolls, but nothing else. And he has a prime opportunity here to really have another blow-up game. And you're right, he looks the same. So to be expected.
It's the same guy.
What I worry about Rob is that, and we've talked about in the past show, is like, does he have that extra level? Can he take it to that, kick it into that 5th gear? Does he even get angry out there? Like, is that part of who he is part of his mental makeup? Like, is that in his game? Because if it isn't, it's not going to end well for him, because you need to have that mentality at some point in these, competitive games, going up against the world's best big men and skilled players. I mean, obviously I don't expect him to go toe-to-toe with Embiid in preseason game 1, but you want to see some flashes. And for me, it's the like tenacity that I'm looking to see out of him. And I just haven't really seen that. You guys don't care. You're like, whatever. Like,
I'm fine with the defense tonight. I thought he ate some of those Embiid post-ups. And again, Embiid, we'll talk about Philly a little bit tonight too. He's just kind of out there jacking shots, and they went in. But this was another game where he probably could have had 35 if he wanted to. And again, preseason, but more spot ups, more face ups than backing guys down and plowing through them to the rim. Rob ate a few of those fairly well. I'm thinking offense. Like, what are some other ways he can get involved?
Even on defense. I mean, he up faked one time on like a handoff pass. He jumped out of the building on that. He's the same guy.
Spacing.
Does he need
on that perimeter?
I mean, spacing. He looked out of place at some parts throughout the first half. The pick and roll defense. Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot to write home. I don't know. Same.
You need to pull a Marc Gasol. You need to pull a Marc Gasol and just cut that mop mid-season here. Before we get going, just start fresh.
5 fouls in 18 minutes too, so he's still doing
none of the big sees the opportunity to be sure tonight. If there was any doubt left about Taco Fall contributing, then that went out the window.
Ooh, thoughts on Taco?
We're already to Taco. I mean, you got to catch the ball.
Time thing might be done this year, guys. I don't know.
He killed.
Serious now. It's not a game anymore.
I mean, some of those dives to the rim that Pritchard had, where he was there for those.
You can't do it. He can't catch and collect and go up. He can't do that. Okay, he can't do that.
Then I don't want to hear.
Give it to him in the post, and he battles his way in, or he catches a lob. That's all he can do. That's it.
I don't want to hear.
I give him credit for that, though. Those really tight, pick and roll where he can catch that lob in places where a lot of centers can't reach. Yeah, we'll give him that. Like that hasn't changed, right? Nothing changed the conversation here. I mean, we know the skill set, we know he has it, but it's just putting it together and seeing it consistently. It's always been the story with Rob.
What about Taco Fall in transition in the first quarter? There, we saw a little mini breakaway that I thought he was a point center for a second there.
He did that in his first game too. I'm like, oh, what's going on here?
Immediately loses it, and that's the end of it.
Oh, what a messy game tonight! The turnovers was just out of control.
It is. All right, let's get to our good stuff then.
Fine.
Okay, look. So we want to
start.
These things are all about what? It doesn't matter what Jaylen. Look, I agree with Josue. The Jaylen Brown thing only if that's something that you see as a trend or going into the regular season, because that's everybody's concern. And again, Goodman talked about it on the Garden Report last week with Bob Ryan, whether he truly has it in his DNA to be a number 2, or he's really better suited for that kind of off-the-ball 3 transition guy. He'll get his 18-20, but he's not a guy that's going to be like, just give me the ball and get out of the way. The thing is, we've seen moments where he has been that guy, but tonight was one of those times where when it's not flowing and he's forcing it, he looks kind of like this. We've seen these games before. So you just need to have fewer of those and more of the ones where it's like, okay, he's a force. So that's fine. And again, the Marcus Smart world in which we're going to watch 15, 16 shots from this guy go up a game, I'm not here for that. That's just, I don't want to see it. So Kemba, hurry back, okay? Jaylen works better as a 2B or a 3. Yeah, but Jaylen works better as a 2B to Walker's 2A or a 3, for sure. And then Smart gets his wherever he gets his. That's what you're looking for.
We're going to stay that conversation for a month from now because Kemba Walker's not walking through that door anytime soon. And I think that's what they have to figure out.
But that's the thing is,
12 games of the season, you know?